I don't think there's been a quarterback that has been as just hated on as Tua. And it's crazy because Tua never usually hate is associated with done like a crime, done something wrong, just a bad guy. Tua's a good dude. And so I remember back in 2020, 2019, when the Dolphins were tanking. Now it's not really a secret. They started off. It's not a secret because there's documented evidence of them actually trying to tank. And Brian Flores famously was like, "Nah, I'm not doing that, man. I'm going to do it for football. I got to play these games out." The tank for Tua mantra kept flying around the league, like just it was like an email. Everyone was getting it. It was crazy. I remember I heard it. Dolphins fans were saying tank for Tua. There was the tank for Trevor stuff too. But Tua at Alabama was a different quarterback. He was accurate. He was able to just lead his receivers. And granted, he had a plethora of options to work with. So we all kind of thought, okay, really accurate quarterback. He's pretty talented. He's not the most flashy guy he's not a Lamar Jackson type, but hey, he'll make it work. It'll be okay. Gets to the Dolphins in 2020. And I remember this so vividly. I made a podcast episode almost 2 years ago from December. So this December 2022, 2 years ago, I made an episode coming back from vacation going, guys, we need to give Tua a chance here. And it was more like a message to Brian Flores, even though just like my mom and two other people were watching the show at the time. It was like, hey, let's give Tua a chance to kind of work this out because he's splitting reps with Fitzpatrick. They're pulling him late. He's not really getting a chance to develop. So I was like, well, once Tua gets his feet settled, so this is year 3, because last year was year 2, I believe. Year 2 or yeah, because he was in 2020 draft. So this is year 3 for Tua, and it's just never really felt like he's gotten a fair swing with the NFL. Because last year there was a bunch of controversy. There was the whole Deshaun Watson rumors. There are all these different factors that have really put Tua his back against the wall before he even really deserved to have it there. So every single opportunity people get, it was the Tua slander. You are on Instagram, you know exactly what I'm talking about. If you're talking about meme pages, talking about beat writers, columnists, TV analysts, Tua was always the butt of the joke, the underthrows, all this stuff. And I was part of it too. I was a Tua hater. And he always seemed to beat my Patriots. So it was always something. And I was like, man, how does he do it? But this offseason, they notably signed Tyree. They traded for Tyreek Hill. They paid a profit for him. And Mike McDaniel's the new head coach following the Brian Flores situation. Miami looked like they had a new direction and a guy that really believed into it for really what feels like the first time. He has a coach that was really handpicked him, saying, "You're my guy. We're going to keep it that way." So, case in point, with Tua, this is the season. Everyone was saying this is the season for you to really show what you got, for you to show your stuff because it's now or never. It is now or never at this point, man. And when you have Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, Mike Gesicki, a plethora of running backs, you got to make it all work. And it felt like on Sunday when it was 35-14, it felt like we were seeing the same old story being played out. Tua made some really, I don't want, it was really erratic throws, not the best decisions with the football. There was a decision that he made to just kind of chuck it up to Tyreek Hill, and it was picked off in double coverage. I don't think it was Kyle Hamilton. It was another safety, but you were thinking, okay, we know how this was going to play out. The Patriots in the Miami game, I didn't take too much stock into it, even though the Patriots struggled. The Miami Dolphins didn't move the ball down the field, minus 147-yard touchdown pass to Jalen Waddle. The movement wasn't too efficient. So I was thinking, okay, this is kind of the struggle fest in the hot and humid hell known as Miami. So you took it as, well, one team won and one team lost. New England's got things to work out, but so does Miami. So you go against a really talented team like Baltimore that went 8-3 before all the disastrous injuries, and your thought process is, well, it's 35-14. Baltimore's in control of this game. Let's chalk it up next week. They play Buffalo, who looks really, really good. And we're going to talk about them in a second. But then something changes. Mike McDaniel starts to simplify it. And I was listening to a podcast. It was kind of making a joke about it, but in a way, it just seemed pretty simple. Too simple not to try out. It was basically the play Madden option where they just like, you know what? We have Jalen Waddle, we have Tyreek Hill, two of the fastest receivers in the NFL, maybe period. Use them. So they were just send Tyreek Hill, send Jalen Waddle, send Tyreek Hill, kept them going. And they allowed Tua, which he always displayed at Alabama, which was his deep ball accuracy. No matter what you want to say about his arm strength, his ball placement skills, especially on the deep ball, He's pretty good at it. You famously are Jerry Jeudy, Devontae Smith, Henry Ruggs. Those guys were always getting balls in the right spot from Tua. Tua always put it in the right place. Accuracy guys. I mean, we saw with Mac Jones too with deep ball accuracy in Alabama. There's a formula there that works with those guys, especially with that receiving core. So you give Tua these weapons and you see it work out, and they have this crazy freaking comeback. I can't believe it. But I think it's not about the comeback, it's about what can come because of it. It's what Tua's career could become because of this comeback. And I just kind of repeated myself in an odd way, but that spark, because I feel like for the last 2.5 years of his career, he's kind of been in this one spot. You look like a graph, and it's like it's not really a straight line. It's more like this. And if you're on YouTube, you can see my hand movement, but I'm just using like a horizontal. It's not going up, it's not going vertical, it's just straight. There's nothing. You may see a slight dip or slight curve, but nothing too crazy. This could be that crazy shift that sends his career up in this really great trajectory that I'm very excited about. Even though he's a division rival, great guy to root for. A guy that can overcome everything that's been thrown at him. Sean Watson rumors, slander, all this stuff on the internet that I'm sure he probably doesn't pay attention to, but it's great to see. And that comeback could be that spark where he goes, "Hey, I can do this." 4-7, I think it's 468 and 6 touchdowns to 2 interceptions, and those 2 interceptions need to be cleaned up. But 6 touchdowns, that doesn't happen very often, and usually that's not a fluke. And we have those Matt Flynn examples, Mitchell Trubisky examples. Maybe Tua's the next one, but I don't really think that's the case. I think this is the turnaround for number one in Miami. Sometimes all you need is a spark, and Baltimore on Sunday against a really talented AFC team that I thought was going to win the division, and probably still think so based on what I've seen with every other team in that division. I think this could be a real spark saying, hey, if I can do this against the Ravens, I got Buffalo at home next week. I'm not going to pick them to win, but I think Tua has found that secret sauce, what makes it work. Very excited about it. So we'll see. We're going to check back in on him probably in a couple weeks. If they end up getting destroyed in Buffalo, or Buffalo ends up rolling them, which could very well happen, we'll have to revisit it. But right now, I think this could be that spark. I'm going to leave you with that. So I'm going to take a short break. And then when I get back, I'm going to talk about the 49ers gamble paying off. And then we're going to talk about the Bills' destruction of Monday Night Football.